All right, welcome back. This is to Edu Decides 2024, and I still have with me here. I still have my guest with me, and while we were on a break, more local government results rolled in, and we will be looking at those results, and of course, be reviewing some of the observations that were brought forth by party agents and the election observers as well. But so before we go to the observations, Mr. Shomole is from Esako East and APC. The local government gave APC 20,000, over 20,000 votes, and PDP 9,000, and then the Labour Party has 600 votes. How do you react to this result?
How do I react?
Yes, this is your local government.
I'm in Lagos here, and the people on ground had to decide. And as we mentioned earlier, there hasn't been any kind of violent protest or discontent, to show maybe this particular result negates what people went for. So I mentioned Adams Oshomole factor earlier in this conversation. I mentioned Philip Shuaibu's factor. I mentioned Dan Obi factor. I mentioned Chief Francis Alimi Hena factor. And I mentioned Ajoto, the former Speaker, House of Assembly, Edo State factor. I mentioned Solomon Taiwo, Bikrin, and the end result between the internal wrangling in Ososo between Solomon Taiwo and Abayo Gedegbe there. So the gods are not to blame then. But the other time I was in Agenebo there, and you could have people talking that, look, the roads, all the roads that were able to, that you could still point to, they were practically put in place by Adams Oshomole's administration. And the complaint was always, since he left, nothing had been done. As a matter of fact, the few street lights that were put between Auchi going to through Uzare going to Agenebo, they've been removed. So you could hear this on ground. You understand people lamenting, people complaining that the governor did nothing in that respect. So coupled with the fact that the governor had failed to manage internal crisis within the People's Democratic Party. As I said, you left a commission, you removed the commissioner, refused to replace, you suspended, you orchestrated suspension of House of Assembly member from Akoko-Edo constituency 2. You didn't deem it fit to look, let's reconcile and bring them back and all that. So all this has really became some level of greed, and when you are so greedy, it could only lead to grief. So if at this moment PDP is grieving, if they are grieving, then it becomes, you can only point to the greediness that has set in on the part of the governor.
So you're saying the results that emanated from Esako East was actually the voice of the people?
I can't agree better, because I didn't see any protest on the streets. I didn't see anyone saying otherwise. That, look, have you had any market being burnt for this reason? No. So they are the one on ground. They feel the pain, and they know what and who feel their own pain better. So, and I told you earlier on this program that, look, Adams Oshomole is very hard to separate from the people of Edo North.
All right. Okay, so we've had, like I said earlier, we've had numerous results coming, and some of the results had complaints. For instance, Ovia Northeast, which APC had over 13,000 votes, and PDP had over 15,000 votes. There were complaints of no beavers for accreditation in some of the polling units, and then accusations of overvoting and cancelled vote too high. And then in Agor, right? Agor local government, the PDP agent had complained and said the collation was not done in the local government. The results announced doesn't tally with the IRF, and observers say vote doesn't tally. But again, before they had commenced the collation for today, the PDP had been saying that some of their votes were suppressed. So, Barrister Elvis, what do you have to say? I can see you're already smiling. Do you still, because I feel like, okay, there's a part of saying, okay, the result is reflecting what the people want, but could there also be, workings to...
Why I'm smiling is that if you are struggling in an area where you're supposed to be leading by wide margin, then something is wrong. It's beyond voter suppression. It's beyond even manipulation. Because in Edo South, where they are struggling at Edo South. This is supposed to be the area where the PDP should have a lifeline. Look at Orion. APC has defeated PDP in Orion. It's unbelievable. Look at Esako West local government area in Edo. Look at the gap. Now, you see, these results, as much as I cannot say, I was not part of the process, I cannot say for a fact that there was no manipulation, whatever it is. But, like I said earlier, before you can manipulate an electoral process, you must have substantial number of votes. You must have substantial number of following within that particular locality. If PDP is struggling in Ego, struggling in Uriomo, struggling in Ode and other areas where they are supposed to have wide margins, like similar to what APC is having in the North, then this calls for introspection. This calls for PDP to really, question themselves, question their preparedness for this election. Because it's really, and one thing that everybody has agreed, that this election is not really about Aswe Godalo. Aswe Godalo is a competent, very good candidate, right? But the sins of the father, is rubbing off on him. When I mean father, the sins of Opaseki. Opaseki didn't manage his political fortunes very well. He became too larger than life. He thought he could fight anybody. Politics is not, there's some angle to politics. Give and take, compromises, negotiation, and then being able to get because at the end of the day, you will be shocked that the people will be celebrating in some of these areas. Not because they're happy that PDP has lost the election, but they're happy that Opaseki will not have the power to control politics going forward after this election. And that is what you are seeing. So, if PDP is struggling in this area, particularly in those souths, then quite frankly, I don't know whether I can really say for a fact that this was due to manipulation, because you shouldn't struggle in your house, even if somebody wants to beat you outside, somebody wants to manipulate you outside, but in your own home, if you are struggling, if you, when I mean home, I'm talking about what's supposed to be your political home, you are struggling, then something is wrong beyond just mere political electoral manipulations.
Okay. I think while we're on break, we also made mention of the turnout. Looking at the numbers from each local government, looks like the numbers would have been way more than what we have.
That is what is a very major factor in those South, because those are supposed to have, like I said, at least 55% of the votes. But what we are seeing now is that it's even having less vote than I don't know. A few people came out to vote. We saw, whatever happened that caused the delay in the commencement of elections in those South. If it was done by somebody, then it was a smart political move to reduce the voter turnout in those South and displaying out in the results we're seeing. And of course, it rained heavily. And quite frankly, again, another of your sins coming to haunt you. Most of the roads in Edo South are very poor right now. They are inaccessible. So if with the rains, most people wouldn't want to go out. So there's a lot of flooding in most part of Benin City metropolis and everywhere else. So, that would have also reduced the voters' turnout. And who do you blame for that?
All right. So in Uvia Southwest local government, where APC had over 10,150, PDP had 10,260. There were observations that there were a whole lot of a whole lot of votes that were rejected. And one of the observers had urged INEC, to do more on voter education. Of course, for those votes to be rejected, it means, some of the guidelines or whatever it is you are to do as regards to voting were not done. And with that, they had really high number of rejected votes in that local government. And I'm sure would also there are also some rejected votes in some other local government. Would you say that voter education is really an issue in Edo State? Because I feel like at this point, some of those key things should be known to almost everyone.
Don't let us deceive ourselves here. Voter education is a problem with Nigerians in general, not just in Edo State. And voter lack. I'm not sure that government is doing enough to even wanting the people to be educated. One is for you to have the will to want people to know their rights, what to do as of when due, and how to do it rightly, right? So I can bet that even some of the key actors will want more people to make mistakes.
But that's votes being wasted.
Of course,
the more votes being wasted.
Okay, well, how do you explain a situation where voting itself is deliberately delayed? How do you explain disenfranchisement? So what I'm saying here is that you can only bring about efficiency in the system when you want that system to work. So from the political angle, it doesn't look as if the main actors want the system to be efficient and effective. So whether you have the resources to educate voters, but you deliberately didn't do that so that they can go there, mess it up, and while you delay the process and you frustrate people, they go back home. So what we have here is that sometimes they say overconfidence has ways of killing cockroaches, So if you think you are a governor, a sitting governor, and you can do away with people, you understand? An individual can't single-handedly bring to bear victory. You need support of this, support of that. In the process of that, then those people, supporters from all the nook and crannies of the local governments, they will have to educate people. In this country, during the former President Jonathan's era, we had door-to-door campaign he adopted. His supporters went door-to-door campaign. You understand? If government wouldn't do that, the supporters of a candidate, when they believe, look, the sense of belonging is there, they will go door-to-door. In this Lagos, you had Ayodele Akele of blessed memory, NCP, in 1999. He went from home to home, house to house, campaigning because he didn't have the resources, and people were listening to him. Though he didn't make it, but the AD, Alliance for Democracy, then they felt his aggression, and tenacity. So even if a national orientation agency had been, whether deliberately or inadvertently, incapacitated, what about this governor who, single-handedly brought forward a candidate, and in his presence, party members were leaving. Key party stalwarts were deserting him. That is gross lack of competence. That is gross lack of man management. So you can't blame someone else for your own failure, especially when you have the capacity.
Interesting. All right, Barrister Elvis, how bad is lack of voter education in Edo State? I mean, looking at this high number of rejected votes.
Unfortunately, it's a major problem in our political experience. It seems that the politicians are comfortable with the way the system is. They don't want the people to be much more involved. They want to exclude people, and part of that is to refuse to educate them on how voting should be done, and the importance of voting. Education of voters is a key part of the electoral process. They are supposed to, let people know how they should vote, when the vote will be declared invalid, and all of that. Should be on jingles, should be on billboards. Should be this was the case in the past, but nothing was done by government in that regard. Even the politicians themselves weren't even really focusing on that. Interestingly, in this election, apart from Lude Akpata, who was actually going to the people to campaign, most of these people were just doing entertainment mobilizing people with the way they do it. He was in fact. He went around all the local governments, most of the villages. You saw him driving around those bar spots and all of that. You need to educate the people, and uneducated voters is to the advantage of politicians who cannot play fair, who cannot engage with a system that is working. And that's what you have. Nobody has done anything. Even the INEC is supposed to be involved in voters' education. If you look at the relevant laws, INEC is part of their mandate. Because they are the ones conducting the election. They are the ones with the rules and regulations for the election. They are the ones that should sell that to the people. Because a lot of these places, you have rural communities. You have and then so we should invest much more on voters' education. Okay. But unfortunately, we're not doing that at the moment. If we really want people to be involved, to participate effectively in the electoral process, then we need to do that. And again, politicians are not doing that because, like I said, they're enjoying this game that they're playing.
All right, so we are going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. But before we leave, what is your take home as regards to this election that has happened?
Well, I think two major things. The first is that, whatever position you occupy today is temporary. You need the people. Irrespective of however you got into power, you need to be able to engage with the people. And as a leader, as a politician, you need to understand that you need to negotiate. You can't take it all. You can't become a lord. And that's what has happened with Obaseki. He became a lord. He succeeded in the emasculation of the Edo House of Assembly for a very long time. He thought that now he was invisible. He succeeded in emasculating the deputy governor. He was fighting everybody, including the Oba of Benin, the very high Reverend Oba of Benin. And all of these has now, and then he practically decimated the PDP. The legacy PDP members, like Dan Obi, who was a fighter, a grassroots politician that was able to compete with the Shomole, head to toe, for many years, winning major elections. They accommodated you when you were being sidelined by APC, and then you came in and you decided to, practically drive them all the way. That is what is playing out in this election. And I think we need, as politicians, you need the people. That's really my major takeaway. I'm also happy that there isn't much violence in this election. Nobody has died from this process, because for me, that is the most important thing. It's enough to use the people. So now allow them to die from all these games that the politicians are playing is another very bad thing. So it's good that the security appears to have been top notch in this election.
Right, let's have a show. Let's take home.
Yeah, it's a lesson where everyone has got to learn from this process. You had a governor in Godwin Obaseki who came as also a greyhound himself, and he was almost left as an orphan, but he got a bit kind of soft landing with the PDP. They rallied around him, and all that. But he ended up destroying that platform by what I would call greed. You know, if the support of Dan Obi had been maintained, if the support of the Ajotos from Akoko Edo had been maintained, and all the key PDP stalwarts had been maintained, association brings also translate to grassroots support. You know, a tree doesn't make a forest. So, and you just had to continue to, it's about give and take. So, but if you had believed that you knew it all, then the end result is just what has manifested today.
All right, so thank you so much. I had with me in the studio Barrister Elvis Asia and Shomole Numa. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, it has indeed been an interesting time and interesting review. As we know, the collation is still going on in Benin City as we speak. More local government results are coming in, and before the end of the day, we are sure the final results will be out. We will be wrapping up now, but we'll be back by 3:30, still speaking on the results that will be coming in. So please don't go anywhere. Still be part of this. By 3:30, we'll be back, and the conversation will continue. My name is Nenwai Demasaka. Goodbye for now.